Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Real Heroes Show. You got Nick and Cory here with you as always. And guys, we were thirsty those 4 weeks without any Marvel content. We were like underneath the sink hoping for a drip of content from Marvel, but we're back. Marvel Wednesdays are a thing again. Marvel's What If premiered this morning. We're very excited to talk spoilers about it. Nick, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing well. You know, it's the drought is over. We're back on the Marvel side of things, and feels good. Feels good to be talking Marvel again.
Are you feeling marvelous today?
I am. I'm feeling very very captainy.
Very captainy
today. Yes.
Yeah. many captains.
Many captains.
It's good stuff. So before we get into too many of the spoilers, one word answer, yes or no. Would you recommend somebody watch this episode of the show?
Yes.
Agreed. Big time. Yes. Moving on. Spoiler time, baby.
Spoiler time.
Just in case anybody wants to know the opinion. Yes, this show is canon. A lot of people thought maybe it wouldn't be, but the writers and directors made it very clear during the press tour that this is canon. It's part of the multiverse. We don't know how these things are going to tie into future projects, but knowing Marvel, there's a pretty good damn chance that that's going to happen. So getting into the story on this, this was entitled What If Captain Carter Became the First Avenger? It was basically the Captain America First Avenger movie on 1.5x speed, which I thought was pretty interesting. Obviously, the beginnings are very similar to the First Avenger film. You've got Erskine there and Howard Stark, and they're ready to do the super soldier thing on Steve, but then, you know, there's the twist. What if an attack goes through, Steve gets injured, Peggy Carter jumps in, takes the super serum, becomes Captain Carter, and then everything changes. So Nick, what were your thoughts on the story? Did you like it? How did you feel that it differed from the First Avenger? Was it weird enough for you? I need your thoughts. Let me know.
Overall, yeah, you know, it was very intriguing for the sake of, you know, the ponderous question of what if. I know I'm sure very many of us have asked that same question. What if I had done this? What if I had done that? And, you know, in our personal choices. So it's the same sort of thing when you're creating and writing a story like this in a, you know, super hero fictitious world or universe rather, or multiverse rather, and you just do a little quick editing. And, you know, some of these things had been done in the comic sense, and again, this sort of brings up the continuous notion of not everyone gets to read or knows about the comics, but that's why, you know, we're here to sort of say this is sort of been done. But obviously when this gets basically recanonized and something new to what is proceeding in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to, you know, the Disney Plus shows, and now for the first time an animated show, which is very very cool.
We all grew up watching Marvel cartoons as kids,
right? You know, X-Men,
they didn't
everything.
Connect, they didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. This is the very first one that's under that umbrella of the MCU. Kevin Feige's got his hands all over it. Obviously, we'll get into the cast. It's all MCU players, like they're all back for it, which is pretty amazing. So what did you think of Peggy as Captain Carter? She had some badass moments, man.
She was a complete badass. And for any females out there watching this, you know, eat your protein. Carbs don't make you fat. Like, I mean, you work out and you could basically be Captain Carter here. I mean, she was thick, in a good way. Like, I mean, I was like, yo, that's actually fucking boss. I'm not even gonna front, man. Like,
they animated it the same way that Steve looked when he came out of the tube, right?
And
awesome. Loved it.
And again, like what we said before, you can do things in animation that you can't do in live action. This costs less time and money. And again, the way they've sort of orchestrated this, it works very, very well. And going back to like the first Captain America movie, First Avenger, compared to this, we got to see Captain Carter do things that Captain America didn't get to do. We didn't see the amount of action and the fighting. It's when she ambushes the motorcade of Hydra's troops, and the one big blonde guy comes out at the end, is like, oh, who would send a Fräulein to do it, so whatever, and then she just punches his knee right in, and then hits him in the gut, and then just hits him right in the face and slams into the concrete. There's like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, little 1, 2, 3, and you're donezo. I mean, up until the she was great. And again, like Haley Atwell, came back to do this. So
she was excellent, I thought.
Yes.
You mentioned stuff that they can't do in live action, or definitely back when First Avenger came out, because they had much smaller budgets for these films back in the 2009, 2010 or 11 whenever that came out realm. There was the one shot of her jumping over the entire gate of the castle in one shot, and like in the movie that would have had to be like, if it was Steve, like jump up a couple tiers, then get over and come down. Nope, in the cartoon, just straight up and over. It was like some Star Wars Jedi shit, and I was all about that. When she does the thing where she flips the car and whatnot, it looked great. All the stuff with the shield was awesome. I loved the little in joke about how it was the design for the USO thing after her and Steve were like, no, they wouldn't do that, right? And then Howard Stark just made some modifications to it, and seeing it all with the Captain Britain type look was pretty awesome too. Yeah,
the entire time I'm like, so is she gonna call herself like Captain Britain? Because that would be as cool as it was to see her kind of become Captain Carter. I really wanted to see Captain Britain, because we haven't actually gotten any canon yet about Captain Britain. So it really opened the door to the possibility, and
it makes you think they might be doing it with somebody else, right? And that's the reason they didn't call her Captain Britain, is because Captain Britain's actually in the works for maybe like a movie or a TV show or something down the road. So because this is canon. Don't sleep on the cartoons, people. I'm gonna say that like 9 more times during this episode.
I think this entire series is going to be very impactfd, right? Because of basically what Sylvie does in Loki. It screwed so much up, but also I'd say for the sake of just creation, it gave us a lot of interesting content to watch and cover. And for what happens in this episode, and how what we knew before, and how we can sort of make these comparisons, right? Like with Bucky, Bucky doesn't fall and get lost in the train wreck.
Doesn't lose
later
his
to
arm,
become right. So it's like, does Bucky so Bucky doesn't become the Winter Soldier? Yeah, we don't know what really happened to him.
Doesn't just get old and die.
Right,
like a normal person.
So he never gets any serum. So is he gone? Is he dead by the time this episode ends, and where it jumps to in the 2012 timeline,
right?
Because at one point I wondered if, with Steve Rogers in the Hydra Thumper, I wondered if they were going to capture him, in which they did, but I wondered if they were going to try and make him into Captain Hydra.
Oh, okay, like give him a super soldier serum.
Yeah, and make him fight.
Oh man,
Peggy, which
that would be interesting.
I'm like, again, like that's a what if, what if that were to happen? And
this whole damn show is just a bunch of what ifs, like that pop up in your brain, that happen on screen. It's really.
It's a left turn. It's a right turn. It's straight, then right, then left. It's like you're all over the place just because of where you can go with these characters and story. Right. So, and it's really cool. And I also think the one thing I really liked that they continued to show and keep true was the romantic relationship between Steve and Peggy. I really enjoyed that, because even though they swapped places, it was still like, you still owe me that dance, Steve.
I love that they kept that. That was great.
Like the romance, they almost kissed until Howard Stark, you son of a bitch, you ruined the moment. And I was like, damn, like, my boy Steve Skinny Boy Steve still missed out, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
man.
Um,
They'll get it. I have a feeling.
yeah, I wonder again. Will what if what if Peggy Captain Carter meets Captain Rogers, and they're both two super soldiers running around with different shields. One's America,
they make
one's
super
Britain.
babies.
Yeah, super babies.
Young Avengers, here we go.
Yeah, the new one, the new What If Young Avengers. But again, like the romance, that stayed between them was very, very well. And even though she was the one that was, strong now, it didn't affect her from seeming like, no, like I still care about you. You're my hero.
She said, "You're my hero." That was
Right.
awesome. This is so
I was
good.
like, yes, I
He's
like
just
that.
like, no, I'm just a guy in a suit. But great. I loved it almost felt like an Iron Giant homage.
Yes.
When he was in the Hydra Stomper thing.
Yes.
It was cool because this is like 50 or 60 years before Tony Stark would have invented an Iron Man suit, and Howard Stark got his hands on the Tesseract and basically made one, which is pretty dope.
Because we didn't call it a. Yeah, it was never once referred to as an Iron Man, even though obviously
Right.
we visualize it as an Iron Man because it's an iron suit.
Right.
And he says it's indestructible.
And it had the eyes, it had the chest piece. They did the camera view like right up in the suit on Steve's face. It felt like the way they shoot all the Iron Man stuff.
Yeah.
From the Sacred timeline. So
Yeah.
I thought that was all really interesting. Rewind a little bit on you mentioned, will we see Captain Carter meet Captain Rogers at some point? I think there's a very good chance that you're going to see Haley Atwell come back in live action as Captain Carter. There was like, I don't know if you saw it, but like somebody freeze framed in like the very first episode of Loki. It looked like a variant of Peggy Carter that walked in the hallway behind Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston. And all of a sudden the internet was like, oh my God, is that like a variant of Peggy? What could it be? And then in this episode, that was Shumagorath at the end. I
Yes,
think,
it was.
Right?
That's what I thought it was.
And Shumagorath is supposed to be one of the multiversal enemies that Doctor Strange deals with
Fights.
in Multiverse of Madness. So I would not be surprised at all if she shows up in the proper MCU timeline because of something that happens in Multiverse of Madness, and then she gets her own thing, Captain Britain Corps, whatever. Like, there's so many what ifs that could happen. And since this show is canon, and you shouldn't sleep on it just because it's animation, like, man, the possibilities are endless, and I love that.
Agreed.
So good.
It's the doors that can be opened from this, and again, like I understand not everyone might be a fan of animation, but the way this is done, the way the voiceovers, the dialogue, the English dub, if you will, is done with this. You make comparisons against things like the Bad Batch and Lucasfilm's animation, and how they are primarily dubbed as English, voiceovers. Some of these newer Japanese, Netflix original animations that have a primary English dub over them, they're done very well. And I know that this sort of animation is slightly different, but it's been seen before. I thought it was pretty on point, pretty believable. Yeah. I didn't spend the entire time like looking directly at like the character's mouth. I'm trying to take in everything, and just visualizing everything just to see what else is literally happening in these animated scenes. Yeah. Because there's a lot. But again, I think they did a really good job. I don't think it hurt, the way it looked or sounded.
No, not at all.
So, for that sake, if you're wondering how it translates verbally or with the animation, I don't think it should be a bother. Again, that's just
so either.
Our take, but
again, I'm not an anime expert. I don't watch a lot of it like you do, so
right
you have that background where you can compare it to other stuff, which I think is really valuable for people to listen and pay attention to the fact that for what they're trying to do, it works. There is nothing about
Absolutely.
it that doesn't. And for me, as like a not really like I watched some animation stuff. I've watched Invincible and all the Star Wars stuff, and you know I watched all the Marvel stuff growing up as a kid. But like for me, this felt like they went back to the roots of like what does a comic book look like, right? Comic books are basically hand-drawn animation, and this was basically that brought to life. Which I was just sitting there with just like a shit-eating grin on my face the whole time because I was like, this is awesome. Like this is stuff that we'd never see. It would never get green lit to do all of these little tiny stories in live action. So if you have the medium of animation to do it, why not? It was bright, it was colorful. It didn't look like jittery or weird like some animation can. Like it was all very fluid. The action looked amazing. I thought that all the stuff like there's one spot where she used the shield and it hit like 4 people up against a wall, and then one person bounced back and she hit them again and he fell down on top of the pile. Like that was great. When the Hydra Stomper fell out of the thing they were holding it in and it made like that big thud. Like all of it was very believable and it felt as real as something animated could. So I thought it was fine. I have no problem with it, and I'm excited to see what the next 8 episodes look like. Like will they all follow this animation style, or will they veer off into their own little things, right? Because these are all little different pockets of a multiverse. They have the creative freedom to be different if they want to. Like I know the next episode is I'm gonna fucking cry because it's the Chadwick Boseman Star-Lord one.
It's gonna be an emotional episode.
I'm curious,
for sure.
Will that episode look different than this one because it's more cosmic MCU than Earth-based or different time period or whatever? So I'm very much looking forward to it. And then all the other ones I know we've seen from the trailer footage. There's a zombie thing, there's some Doctor Strange stuff, there's Killmonger becoming friends with Tony Stark. There's a Ultron Vision hybrid looking thing. Like it all looks dope as hell. I can't wait to see it. So if you had to score this one, I know it's the first out of 9 episodes for the season. It's always hard to give a really strong score out of the gate, but what would you give this one out of 10 if you had to?
Well, IGN gave this one a 6, which I strongly disagree with.
That's a fart noise right there.
You know, well, I'm not even going to get into it because I feel like a lot of what we said, counteracts what they said and speaks for itself.
Sure.
I would, again, I think this is going to set the tone. I think they chose a good episode to set the tone with, because again, it being canon, where it leaves off, we've got Hawkeye and Nick Fury at the end of the episode that come out of the Tesseract 70 years later. War's over. Oh damn, she still got the sword and shield in hand. So again, what this leads to, and I want to say a solid 8. Okay.
I think an 8 is fair. I was even thinking maybe an 8.5. Just because the caliber of talent that they brought on for this, like I'm so used to watching cartoons, like even with the Star Wars stuff, in most cases you didn't get Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman in the Clone Wars, right? The voice actors that ended up playing them were phenomenal, and I love the work they did, but the studio didn't go through the process of getting a big name actor to come in. Here you've got Haley Atwell, Sam Jackson, Jeremy Renner, Sebastian Stan, Ross Marquand was the Red Skull, which is the same guy that voiced it in Endgame. Toby Jones was back. Neil McDonough, like Dominic Cooper was Howard Stark, and Stanley Tucci was in there for like 4 seconds as Dr. Erskine at the beginning,
and Jeffrey Wright.
It's a really stacked cast, and I feel like every episode is going to be like that. So you're going to get Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, you're going to get Michael Rooker as Yondu, and Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, and it's going to feel like the MCU because those oral connections are going to be there. You're going to hear voices you're used to hearing. There are going to be a couple rare instances where you won't. Like Chris Evans did not provide the voice for Steve Rogers, although the fellow that did a great job, I thought.
Very close, very close.
I don't think you're going to get Downey as Tony Stark or Scarlett Johansson. Like the most expensive actors probably will not be there, except Hemsworth. I'm almost positive that he voices Party Thor later on in the series.
He'll. I think Chris Hemsworth is just the type of guy that'll do whatever.
Dude,
Thor is, and
he showed up to do the Frog Thor thing.
Yeah,
they recorded brand new dialogue for that, and Hemsworth did it. Like I feel like he's up for pretty much anything.
Yeah, he's fully stacked on board. So which is again, it's great to see. It's great to hear. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So solid first episode. Very excited to see where the next 8 weeks take us. We'd love to hear from you guys. Drop us a comment below. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Were you a fan of Captain Carter? Did you like the twists and turns that it took with Steve and Bucky, and how it ended with Nick Fury and Hawkeye? Leave us that comment and let us know below. You can support the channel. All you got to do is like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on your notifications, and share the video with your friends. We'll be back on Friday talking about the Bad Batch season finale. I'm gonna cry on that one too. It's gonna be great. Really looking forward to shedding some Star Wars theory-esque tears live on camera. It's gonna be terrific. We're gonna have Ted Lasso after that. Marvel Wednesdays are back every week for the next 8 weeks, so lots of stuff to stay tuned for, so please do. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Cheers.